Second, Sidney Speary and the Church Manual, by extension, claim that Great Britain and other nations called for help during the two world wars and did so for their self-defense. But is this actually true? We know that Great Britain did not call for help during World War I. It entered the war one day after Germany invaded Belgium and declared war on France as a matter of obligation. Great Britain's security was never directly threatened in World War I. Though costly to the British Empire in terms of casualties, the Western Front of the war was fought on the continent. There was no need for Britain to call for assistance in its defense. This fact alone invalidates World War I as a fulfillment of the prophecy. True, Belgium did ask for help, invoking the obligations of the 1839 Treaty of London, but Great Britain did not, nor did France. World War II officially began on the 1st of September of 1939, when Great Britain and France declared war on Germany. These declarations included their empires, which for Great Britain included India. Soon thereafter, members of the Commonwealth followed with their own declarations of war. The war quickly devolved into a true worldwide war. Within a few months, almost all the nations of Western Europe were combatants. The Soviet Union invaded Finland. After dividing up Poland with the Soviet Union, Germany invaded Denmark, Norway, and eventually France. Italy joined the fray by declaring war on France and Great Britain. Again we ask, did Great Britain and France and other nations call on still other nations for help? Like World War I, World War II cannot be used to fulfill the prophecy on war. It is primarily a matter of sequence. To qualify as fulfillment, Great Britain would have to call for help before the war became worldwide. However, as we noted, the war was global almost from the beginning. No request for assistance by Great Britain and other nations led to the globalization of the war. Furthermore, with the German Blitzkrieg, France had no chance to ask anyone for help. France and the Benelux were conquered in 6 weeks. Besides, whom would they ask for help? All the other nations in Europe had already entered the war, had been conquered, or were neutral. Instead, they capitulated and signed an armistice with Germany. Great Britain did ask for help and receive it from one nation to help them in the war, the United States. The United States sent massive material aid to Great Britain, Free France, and other nations throughout the war. The aid program was called Lend-Lease. So Great Britain did ask for aid and did receive it. But this request for assistance fails to fulfill the prophecy on 2 counts. First, as we have noted, the request did not result in a global war. The war was global to begin with. And second, the United States cannot be considered one of the other nations in the Revelation, since it was previously named. The bottom line is that neither World War I or World War II qualify as fulfillments of the prophecy on war. That these 2 world wars could not fulfill the prophecy should have been evident from the beginning. The wars and requests for aid from other nations are directly tied to and a result of the American Civil War. That means that these requests and the domino effect of embroiling all nations in war should have happened during the conduct of the Civil War. When war is poured out on all nations, war continues in the United States. The revelation never puts an end to the war between the northern and southern states. And moreover, if the war continues in all nations, that necessarily must include war in the United States. Yet, in the United Kingdom, there was no major war, let alone global war, during the Civil War period, nor for a good time afterwards. It was the Victorian era, an age of empire building and Pax Britannica up to World War I. In summary, the seventh prophetic element remains unfulfilled,